Okay. So excited to see some of you guys from the workshop. I'm so excited for those who are going to see this in the recording. Of course, you won't be eligible for the giveaways or the discount. However, whether you're watching this currently live as I'm doing it, or you're watching it on a recording, the mission is all the same. And it's hopefully, if you're at the point of feeling fed up and frustrated and misunderstood, I almost said ununderstood, ridiculous. Anyway, misunderstood, that you find some common ground with, hang on, I'm just gonna make sure everyone's muted, so please do not unmute your microphone. But I just wanna make sure that I get through all the big bulky details, explain a little bit about who I am, what I do, what my program is about, what Chronic Confidence Academy is about. You'll hear some awesome testimonies from one of our girls, Tabby, who's here, and then Steph, who's gonna join us shortly. We're gonna go through all the deets, and then at the end, I'm gonna tell you how you guys can claim your discount if you're accepted, as well as our giveaways, which are a box of Swerve erythritol, which is a natural sweetener I really recommend. It's got no aftertaste. You might taste it a little bit, it might taste cold to you, if that makes sense. A lot of people say that, but there's no like gross licorice, weird, bitter aftertaste, which is awesome. So you'll get a box, packets of those if you win, or our skin oil, my skin oil that I'm obsessed with. And it's actually such a great brand. It's Leven Rose on Amazon. You know, it's, oh God, I love it. It's liquid gold, in my opinion. I only oil wash, but if you win the oil giveaway, I'll do a one-on-one tutorial session on how I oil wash, my skincare routine, and things like that. Because believe it or not, from my own hormonal imbalance in the past, my skin used to have all acne all over it. My chin, the sides of my face, which you can see is just scars now that are healing up great. You know, I'm not wearing any makeup right now. And I've never been that girl that had good skin, ever. So I swear by this oil, okay? All right, not the point. I could talk about the oil for hours, but not the point of this Zoom. So who am I? Hey, Steph. So my name, obviously, is Michelle Amato. I have been running my program, Chronic Confidence, for approximately about almost 2 years now. We privately mentor women who have hormonal imbalances, as well as food fear, binging issues, and occasionally some chronic illnesses, because they kind of, I don't know the word I'm looking for. They relate. So any type 1s that are seeing this, I'm also a type 1, and that's kind of where my whole journey started. I was diagnosed at age 7, insulin-dependent type 1 diabetes. It was literally a medical miracle that I'm still here. My blood sugars were over 1,000 at the time, and I was a 7-year-old child, and it was just madness. So from that moment on, and if you guys know about type 1, it's an autoimmune illness, and I call it like the sugar cube. When you get one autoimmune, typically what happens is it's the sugar cube and it attracts all the ants at the picnic, you know? So shortly after, well, not shortly after, but around age 14, I had been battling horrible periods, like 3 in a month, the whole month straight sometimes, awful, couldn't leave my house, like, not to be graphic, sorry, but like bleeding through super tampons and super pads within minutes, like anemic. It was terrible. And then I'd go 6 months with no period. And this is just as a kid. So, and not to mention, I was a hairy ass kid. Like I look like I got a full beard, the stash. I got some hair. I had hair under here. Like, it was just like I had hair on my boobs. Like, it was so bad. It was so bad. Acne, the whole shebang. And this was around like 12 to 13. So you can imagine how great kids were. But, and I was also heavier than all the other kids, even though I didn't really eat a whole lot. I was all heavy. I carried all my weight up top. You know, I called myself a meatball on legs when I used to be mean to myself, because that's what I look like. My legs kind of stayed sort of thin, but all my weight was up top. Besides that, I just was I was moody. I had every PCOS symptom you could even imagine: the anxiety, the mood swings, depression, the cravings that are like crackhead cravings, where it's literally, one, dealing with the craving, and then two, dealing with the after effects of giving into that craving and just beating myself up. It was just this constant cycle. And as soon as I was 14, I finally had enough, begged my mom to take me to the doctor because she's like, you're not going on birth control. You're too young for that. So I went to the doctor. They did blood work. They did ultrasound. They said I had more cysts than ovary, and that my blood work was just glaring. It was obvious. I have testosterone dominant PCOS, or I guess kind of regular now. So, it was easy for me in that sense because I had that diagnosis, but it wasn't easy because it was still so misunderstood. They just stuck me on birth control like my mom thought. Nothing really got all that better until I tried probably about 4 or 5 that finally stopped the ridiculous amount of bleeding that I was having. Like, it was constant. And I thought I was good, but yet nothing else was in check. And every doctor I would talk to, they were like, are you sure it's not just, anxiety? Are you sure it's not just anxiety, right? Or are you sure it's not just, you're hormonal because you're a teenager? And it was like I was getting turned away. Every doctor I went to, it was like none of them took me seriously. And then came the weight comments once I got a little bit older, where it was just, as soon as I got into the office, they looked me up and down. They were like, I could tell that they wrote me off as, this person doesn't care about their health because they're heavy, so we don't have to put that much priority in her because she should take care of her weight first. Almost like, do you guys ever get that feeling where it's almost like a punishment? Like, you can't have my medical attention until you show that you can diet and control yourself. When it's really like, hey doc, weight's a symptom, so what's going on here? And when this was going on, it was before the big boom of Instagram and Facebook, where I really felt completely alone. I was bigger than all of my friends, and bless their hearts, they were always the ones that are like, you're not fat. But I was so mean to myself. I was always putting myself down. I went through a lot of abusive relationships as a result of my lack of self-confidence and my just lack of self-worth. A lot of it just based on feeling so out of control with food, with my body. It was awful. I'd be exhausted all day, and I'd have the hardest time falling asleep at night and go to bed at 3, 4 in the morning because my head was just rushing, and I just felt all the feelings all of a sudden at night. Not at school where I needed it, but at night in bed when I needed to sleep. So long story short, it got a lot worse as I got older in terms of my acceptance of my PCOS, because to me, I had all these other serious illnesses like the type 1 diabetes, the Hashimoto's that I was also diagnosed with at 14, the colitis, like sugar cube. All the other autoimmune started coming in. And here I have all these serious illnesses, and I didn't give a damn about any of them. I just wanted to not be the big girl for once. Like, I just didn't want to feel just bulky and couldn't relate to anybody with me. I'd go out to eat at restaurants. I'd be picking at a salad, starving, so hungry, and hating myself, trying to pretend like I'm having fun. Meanwhile, my thin friends were all eating cheeseburgers and fries, and I'm sitting there drooling because, if you don't know me, fries are my thing. Like, I could live on potatoes. So it was rough, and nobody understood, it felt like. So I did the thing. I went to school. I dropped out because of a lot of reasons, but went to culinary school, did that, tried to start working in the baking industry, and I burnt out pretty quickly. Why? Because my body, my health, my happiness were the absolute last priority. I was in do what I gotta do mode all the time, but I never viewed doing what I had to do. I never viewed taking care of myself as part of that, because that always felt like I can worry about that later. There never seemed to be a good time to prioritize it because life was just crazy all around me. So I had gotten to the point where I met my now husband, who's a freaking saint for real, putting up with me during those times because I was not hormonally balanced. I was nuts, so bless his heart. I met him. I had a torsed ovary. My ovary twisted around itself and cut the blood supply off to that ovary. And I'll never forget the defining moment where I still stayed and worked because I felt bad calling out because there were no other instructors that could teach the class I was supposed to. So with a twisted up ovary, which is, if you've ever had it, excruciating. I've had kidney stones. This is worse than that. Ugh. So with that, I stood and taught probably 80 people how to make cakes for about 12 hours on my feet. At one point, I was hunched over on the table trying to show them how to do it because I couldn't even stand. And then Tabby, you're so funny. And then I woke up and I was like, I don't give a shit if they fire me. I'm out. I can't even breathe right now. Go to the hospital. They didn't do any tests. And they said, you should be fine. It's probably cramps. You're probably ovulating. Again, completely dismissive. And at that point, I wasn't the very ballsy person I am now where I'd be like, I will sue you. So why don't you go ahead and do your tests? Anyway, I leave, go home. I try to call out the next day. They tell me, I don't care if you're on your deathbed, get here. And I was like, yeah, psych. And I finally had enough. I went back to the hospital and I insisted on an ultrasound because I knew something was wrong. The ovary was losing blood supply. It was dying. Literally, my ovary was dying inside me. They said, we have to take them out because if we don't, they can become extremely infected and die. So we have to take them out. I fought them tooth and nail. And I don't know how it happens in like half of the cases of ovarian torsions is it twisted back. I'm like, my stubborn ass twisted back my ovary. Like, you're not taking my ovaries. Which is crazy. I found out the other day they wouldn't have needed to anyway, but that's a story for a different day. But what came to me from this was I need to get out of this job. I need to leave. I need to be somewhere where I can focus on my health because no one's going to do it for me. I have to make those tough calls because while PCOS doesn't seem bad, the amount of cysts on my ovary caused it to literally wrap around itself and die inside of me almost. So time to take a time out. I left. I found the boring job. Hated it. I beat myself up all the time because I didn't fit the mold. I wasn't, I was the second youngest girl in the office. Everyone was much older. And the other girl was a size like 0, wore short skirts. And here I come feeling frumpy every day. It was just awful for my self-confidence. I've never felt lower in my life. And that is when I went the other extreme of what I used to do, which was over-restrict. And I would binge. And I was at the point where I was so frustrated because what am I going to do? Tell my doctor I can't control myself? Tell him that, I get so down on myself. I eat everything in sight because I don't care if I even am around anymore, with food. Like, obviously I'm not going to kill myself with food, but that mentality, like it was that bad. And I felt like a crazy person admitting this to a doctor when none of my doctors had ever listened to me before this. So I kept it in private and it was restrict where I'd be like, I have to be good. I have to be on a diet. I have to, keep everything really nice and perfect. I have to be on top of my health. And really what I was doing is eating veggies all day and nothing else. And then I would get to the point of just utter exhaustion and hunger and cravings. And I'd eat anything and everything in sight, in private, like your typical movie. I was that girl, right? That was enough. I was done. At that point, I was like, I can't keep doing this. Something's got to change. My whole life, I've been trying to lose weight. So I can either continue living miserable, trying to lose weight more than anything else, or I can just do something that's going to make my body feel better. And if I happen to lose weight, friggin' great. If I don't, at least I feel good every day. And I can kick anyone out that doesn't want to be a part of that life because I am so tired of living my life obsessed with weight loss and food. That wake up moment was huge for me. I did the network marketing thing. I got involved in one of those companies. It wasn't bad. I did it my way. I kept everything really like nice and not pushy or salesy or anything like that. But what I did was I learned that you can relate to people through social media outlets. You can provide that inspiration. You could be a voice of hope to a lot of people. And I grew through that. I learned through that. I ended up leaving my job doing that full time. And then I decided I want to have a more direct, I want to help people more directly. I don't want to just push products because that doesn't do it. You know, like that alone will never get you there. You know, I don't feel good just promoting that. It has to be the same lifestyle switch that I made when I decided I'm going to do what's right for my body. And if I lose weight, great. If not, whatever. So I developed Chronic Confidence, and it was my baby for a while. I spent a lot of time, you know, talking to professionals in the industry, getting insight, developing my program, and it's been amazing. It's always evolving, but the one thing I see is the ladies that I meet from all walks of life through all different struggles, and we all have that same underlying thing, and that is I don't feel understood. Whether that's somebody understanding your weight loss wants or somebody understanding what makes it harder for you, I just didn't, we all at some point, I can say this and speak for everyone, I think, when we say you feel misunderstood. And that feeling combined with slow progress is a recipe for giving up on yourself time and time again. So that's my spiel about who I am and why I do this. Well, I guess I just want to always provide the support I wish that I had. You know, we are in the age of social media. We are in the age of being able to text each other regularly or have calls, do this Zoom. You know, I have clients in Germany and South Africa, you know, so we are in that age. If I can continue to preach the message every day to ladies that no matter how long it's taking you, no matter how many struggles you have, that you can do it. Even if I affect one person, that means more to me than just sitting by and letting doctors just make me feel completely unheard. So I am really appreciative of you guys being here and showing interest. It means the world to me because it shows that there is a space for this need in this world. So that's why I do what I do. Now, what is Chronic Confidence Academy? So it's always customized to a certain point, and the process is selective. I hate that I have to be selective, but I am intent on being personal and one-on-one and getting close with my clients. So for me to be able to do that with the amount of time in a day, I have to be selective, and I have to only pick those that I know are at that point of like, this is it. I have to change. I cannot live like this because I deserve better. You know, whether you are still scared that you won't get anywhere or not, that mentality, that mindset, that point of like, this needs to stop. I love it. So I do anything from a 5-month program all the way up to a 1-year or a 2-year program. It's all dependent upon if you're accepted, what you individually need. And I'll get into that in a second. And just, yeah, what's included. You know, it depends on a lot of different things, but my ultimate goal is to show people slowly how slow weight loss isn't the enemy. It's actually the most liberating thing in the world, because even when you get that first little bit of progress, you feel like, oh my God, I used to have to suffer 10 times harder than this to see nothing. So this is great because as long as it's going to take, I feel good. I'm happy in the process. Before you know it, boom. You know, for me, I haven't weighed myself in, I don't even, like, probably a couple months. But the last time I checked, I was 80 pounds down. And for someone that could never lose 5 pounds successfully, even if I starved, that's huge, because my girls, Tabby and Stephanie, see in the page when I post my food, I for sure do not starve anymore. I like to eat. And I love that I can say that I like to eat now, which is something I was really ashamed of for a long time. You know, anybody in here feel ashamed? Like you have to be a certain size to enjoy bad foods or say they're delicious, right? Like, I don't want anyone to think I'm like a slob. No, screw that. Food's delicious. It should be celebrated all the time. I love it. So what goes on in Chronic Confidence Academy? So each week we do a group lesson, and it's on Zoom, just like this, and we cover different topics. Sometimes based on the calls that I've had with my clients one-on-one throughout the week, I'll see there's a common theme. I always say that the ladies link up like their cycles because like everyone gets upset about the same thing, I feel like, each week. Whether it's mentality, whether it's going over food, self-confidence hacks, motivation to remind you that it's okay, you're doing your best, which is something a lot of fitness people never emphasize. They usually push you to be perfect. is like not even real. We tackle all different types of things because my philosophy is you've been the way you are for decades. It's not going to change overnight, which we all know, but it doesn't mean that that still doesn't feel crappy and that we still shouldn't acknowledge that that's frustrating and crappy and help people through that. So in addition to the group calls, there's also different types of things. Like I do the meals of the week where I outline 5 different types of lunches and dinners that are created to be easy on the joints, easy for you to stand if you're struggling with energy, delicious, most importantly, and to be in line with the way each person needs to eat for their body. Which brings me to my next point. Everybody is different. And I can't stand seeing a lot of the Instagram influencers. They have these really impressive pages, and I don't knock their journey whatsoever. But what I do knock is giving everyone the same guidelines to lose weight, because it's not that way. When you have a hormonal issue, we are all, each of us in here are so different, and we need different things to see the results. And to figure that out takes time and trial and error. So in the program, we do our best to figure out what your usual eating habits are, what your schedule is, so you can eat around that and it's not like another job maintaining it. And we slowly figure out what your body needs. So at this point, I'm gonna introduce my girl Steph here. Stephanie joined us. She was feeling, pretty beat up about it because she had been dieting and trying really hard in the gym and overworking herself and wasn't seeing the results coming off like she had hoped. So, hello, Miss Stephanie. I'm going to unmute you.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us tonight and being able to share your experience a little bit. So, what was the biggest breakthrough moment for you when we got started? Like, what really changed your frame of thought from where you were in the beginning to where you are now?
When we started talking, we hit a lot of it, it wasn't a lot. Like I thought it was just a weight loss thing, but we hit on it's more like a mental thing. Like I was just very shy, and then I didn't realize that I was a binge eater until we spoke about it, and I was like, wow, yeah, that makes sense. What else? Yeah, I wasn't very confident, and we spoke about that.
I remember oh my God, I just drooled right on the Zoom. It is what it is. So I remember we talked about that. You were like, I don't even want to go on dates. I don't want to talk to guys at all. I don't.
Yeah.
Now I see your
Yeah, it was a lot of. Yeah, no, I didn't post pictures on Instagram at all because I just really didn't like how it looked. And what was it? Like in October, I started keto, and I was just very restrictive on myself. And yeah, I lost some pounds, but still at that point, I was still very not confident. And talking to you, it hit something I never got from anybody else, which was the mental thing. You're like, oh well, you're a pleaser. What was it? A yes man?
Oh yeah, you're a yes man. Yep, a people pleaser.
People pleaser. Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, again with the binge eating, I didn't realize I was a binge eater until we started talking about my eating habits, and it would be like, oh, I'm having a rough day, so I deserve. So I remember iced caramel lattes are my go-to.
Oh, I remember. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I didn't realize how bad they were for you, but I was just I had a rough day already. Let me go have an iced caramel latte, and then I would come home and then eat this and then eat that, just because I was feeling some type of way. Mm-hmm. And I would just binge and then feel terrible about myself.
Yeah. Or I remember you wouldn't eat not even 500 calories in a day, and then you'd have your latte because it was well, I feel like I'm going to pass out. I'm so tired that
right.
eating all day, which is pretty common. Usually people think that women who right. At first glance, if you are in a size 2, people assume it's because it's something you're eating or something you're doing. But it's I remember seeing your log that day, and I was 500 calories. You need to eat. That's why you're exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy. Have you ever had a weight loss
right,
tell you to eat more?
No. And that's what it was. I was following like the strict keto thing, and it was like under 20 carbs a day. And I guess like with eating less than 20 carbs, I wasn't filling my calories of the day. And you were like, oh my God, you're starving yourself. And I was at a plateau at that point. So then when you told me like up your carbs, do this, do that, I think within the 2 weeks or something like that, I was like, oh, wow, I dropped weight, because then you told me to take measurements, which I didn't do at the beginning. And then I was like, oh yeah, I definitely dropped the weight. Just eating more, up in my carbs, up in my calories.
Which I'm sure is a shock, because people kind of make carbs the enemy. Like when you hear PCOS care on Instagram or anything like that, it's usually gluten-free, dairy-free, super low carb. And it's like, that's not what everybody needs, you know? Were you shocked to hear me tell you actually needed to up your carbs from what you were having?
Yeah, I was very scared. Because I was like, for the last couple of months from October to, I think we started working together in February. I was very low carb, and I was like, oh my God, what if I have these carbs and I'm gonna gain all the weight that I had lost?
Yeah.
So I was very hesitant, but I was like, I'm gonna try it. And then we did, and then I got out the plateau that was stuck on for like the last 2 months prior to that.
Yeah. I think the biggest difference too was, I remember you were going hard in the gym. Like, I know you still do, but you do like more lifting and stuff like that. But I remember you were so intense with working out. So I had told you, I was like, we got to up your carbs and drop your exercise. And you were like, oh my God, you're going to kill me. Like, I'm going to gain.
Right. Because I would do gym, and then I would come home and then do yoga. So maybe 3 hours of exercise a day. Like, I was just killing myself.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of people end up in the binge restrict pattern, because when they don't see results from all that hard work, they're like, well, what the hell is the point of this? I feel like crap. You know, I don't feel well, no matter, even though I'm living a healthy lifestyle, I don't feel it. So I think that is absolutely incredible. I can see the difference so much in your face, and like, just not even just the weight, but you just look like you're glowing. Like, it's amazing. I remember when we first started talking, you were so high. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I still am a little bit, but a little bit more open with people.
You're just like a little bit more Steph, which I love.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and how many total pounds and inches? All right, well, as of your last check, because I know we're up for that soon.
Yeah, so last month, from when we started, when you told me to take my measurements and stuff in February, I'm down a total 16.8 pounds.
Awesome.
And then inches on my waist, I'm down 3.5 inches. Hips, 1 inch. My bust, unfortunately, 3 inches. Belly, which was awesome. I haven't even looked at like the before and after until you told me today. I'm down 7.5 inches.
7.5 inches from your stomach, which is the number one spot I hear about. And it was my trouble spot too, from women that have PCOS and Hashimoto's. So that's amazing.
7.5. I know. Thighs, 0.5. Arms, I didn't lose anything in my arms. They're still the same. And my neck, 1 inch.
Oh, like an inch off your neck. Like, that's crazy. And that's like, we started measuring into the program still. We were relying on weight like in the beginning. So that's crazy. That's amazing. I'm super proud of you. You are just like, I'm always talking about my Steph. So thank you so much for sharing with us and being on tonight. And
no problem.
I'll text you after.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So, I love my client. I say we become like a hormonally dysfunctional family. I love it. But what you can expect being a part of the academy is that it's not going to be, I'm going to send you some meal plans and, mazel tov, go forth and enjoy. Like, that's not my shtick. What I care about is giving that on the go support. So some of my favorite parts of what I do is the texting. I love hearing, I always say this, my needy clients do the best. Everyone's sick of hearing me say it, but truly, how many times I had an appointment coming up with a doctor in a month or something, and I was upset about something right now. My mom would be like, well, write it down and then ask your doctor about it. I wouldn't write it down. I wouldn't even remember I was upset about it. But every day it was the same thing that was happening over and over again. And it was because it just wasn't the same. I'd go to his office and I'd forget half the things that I wanted to be upset about, So if you don't have that on the go help, like if you're not learning in life as you're living, it's really hard to put a lot of the lessons in motion. So having that availability where I can have a client text me and say, I'm at a new restaurant. I didn't expect us to come here. I'm with my friends. I don't know what to order. Where I can take that anxiety off of them and be like, oh, you can still eat. Don't worry. Let's figure it out. I've had clients, this is my favorite because you guys seen the show Chopped? I love Chopped. Like Nick and I fall asleep watching it at night. Like I love Chopped. So I'll have clients send me a picture of their fridge or their pantry. If they say, I've got nothing in my fridge, I always hear that. So I'm like, send me a picture. I guarantee you we can piece something together. And we do. I love it. It's like my favorite challenge in the whole world. Only once have I been truly stumped when I told someone to order delivery and I just told them what to get. Because I'm like, girl, there ain't a hope for that fridge right now. But yeah, I love it so much. I also provide any of the clients with the ebook that I wrote. It's called The Spoony Foodie Philosophy. I call it like the go-to guidebook for replacements. So if you guys, do apply and end up becoming a part of the academy, we'll figure out what you specifically need. But the ebook has a lot of common replacements for very just harmless seeming things like bread. I think no one thinks bread's harmless anymore. This is 2019. But things that are like convenience eats, like breads, things like that, pastas, how to bread chicken with a different kind of breading, just to make it easier to transition because we never want somebody to be deprived. I want people to think of instead of rather than no. Because no leads to falling off and binges when the weight loss isn't fast because human nature is like, this sucks, but instead of becomes, ooh, I get to eat this and feel good and I'm losing weight. Okay. And it lets you wait for those results to catch up. Okay. So the ebook is great. And the whole thing is centered around the concept of you should not be cooking more hours than you're working a friggin' week. Like, meal prep is great, but I do it in a different way. I don't do the whole Tupperware portioning thing because it takes forever and I'm exhausted, some at the end of it. And then my day's shot. And who wants that on your day off? You put all your energy into working all week. Come the weekend, you want to stand there for 4 hours cutting bell peppers and putting them in Tupperware? Not me, So the concept is let's figure out the easiest way to bulk prepare parts of meals like breaded chicken breasts, like crusts, individual pizza crusts, or crackers, because I know having the crunch when you do kind of low carb is something people miss. Different components that you bulk cook in the easiest way possible. None of my recipes are more than about 20 minutes. So my concept is if you are in a flare-up and you can't do much, you never want to be in the position where you're stuck between ordering food makes the situation worse and mentally and physically, or hurting standing at the stove. Like those shouldn't be the two options you have. So that's what the ebook is great at navigating through. Now, I've told you about me, told you about my program, and now I want to tell you guys about the types of clients that we're looking for. When I mentioned I'm selective before, it's not that I'm like, oh, they can't do this, like they suck, they're hopeless. I'll never leave anybody high and dry. Even if I turn you away from the program, it's just because I know that you won't get out of it what you might want. I'll still give you resources. But if I do accept you into the program, there are a few characteristics that I really look for. And it's also for the benefit of the whole community because we are very close. I really place importance in us being a community. So women know that they're not alone. So some of the qualities I look for, somebody who is open-minded to talking. If I get on the phone with you and it sounds like you'd rather, you'd rather do anything but be on the phone with me, pretty obvious. I'm not gonna extend an invite. If you're somebody who refuses to accept that, like, we're gonna have to make changes, if you're somebody who's kind of like a know-it-all and you argue with me, by all means, I do not think I know everything by a long shot at all. And I don't disrespect even doctors, stuff like that. Like, I don't think that they're dummies. I just don't think they understand us sometimes, you know? But if I encounter somebody who is both asking me for help and also telling me that they know better, I don't feel like getting in that mess. So that, well, what I am looking for is someone who wants easy change. They want baby steps. They want hand holding. They want support. They don't mind getting vulnerable with me, you know, maybe not at first, but eventually they open up. Somebody who is not mean, obviously, somebody who's friendly, who wants to be a part of the community, and just somebody who is eager to learn. I say this saying all the time. It's if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a meal. If you teach him to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. So I want somebody that also wants to learn. So I'm not just telling you, eat this, don't eat this. That's not what this kind of program is about. It's about teaching you how to live your life instead of dieting your life away. Okay. So I have Miss Tabby here. Tabby came to me. She was really reluctant, really scared, I remember, but I loved her to death from the first moment. And when we got started, it was more about like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. Tell me what I got to do. She was like from the start like that. There was no weird transition. It wasn't like she was bragging her feet. You know, it was like, let's do this. I want to learn. And she's both her and Steph have been on all of the group calls. They prioritize our growth, and it's 100% why they've been so successful. So Miss Tabby, who's on the kind of newer side, I'm going to unmute you. Thank you for joining us tonight and giving your little testimonial here. Tabby, when did you start with me? I think we're like 3 months? I'm pretty sure it was like a month before vacation.
Yeah, I think it was the beginning of June.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My voice. I'm losing my voice.
Oh, let's blame it on back to school.
Yeah.
100%.
But off my computer.
Your cat is the cutest, by the way. Is that a cat?
Yeah, he likes to give kisses, but he also likes to sit on my computer.
So, Tabby, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you were feeling when you first started? You know, what you were scared of and anything that you've learned through it as a result?
I don't specifically remember being scared of anything. I think I was pretty open with you that I wasn't obsessed with losing weight. My issue was figuring out how to balance my body. And well, maybe like the phone call that we had before I left for vacation was worrying about getting back into my routine. But that wasn't as awful as it was. But I thought it was going to be. Can you just stop?
I'm surprised my animals haven't gone off yet. Like, she's being good. I don't want to jinx myself.
At the beginning, I was excited. I mean, I'm still excited. It's different than anything else that I've tried. I mean, it doesn't suck doing it. Sometimes when I tell people that I don't eat gluten, I mean, I do, but only if it's worth it to me. So like this weekend, Jared and I we do dates every week, and we went to a super fancy restaurant that we probably will not go to ever again. And so I ate some bread, and it was worth it.
Light up the torches and get your pitchforks, right? Call the keto police, somebody.
But when I do tell people that I don't eat gluten or sugar, like I don't even get to the fact that I also eat low carb. As soon as they hear no gluten or no sugar, everyone's like, "Oh, your life sucks," and I'm like, "Not really."
Right, like nobody cared when you were sick, right, and eating whatever. Now that you're not having gluten and sugar, they're outraged.
Yeah, and that's how I was at the beginning. I was very, very bloated, and I had really severe, okay, I don't need both of you. Oh, severe knee and back pain. Like I'm laying on, honestly, I'm in the guest bedroom, but this is my favorite place to go.
I see him. He's so cute.
I wouldn't have been able to lay like this because my back hurt so bad. But I mean, I'm laying on here. And my knee.
Had a lot of normal moments too. Like you were showing me the jeans picture, you know, laying on your back like that. I love hearing this.
Mm-hmm. And I couldn't do that before because my body just hurt all the time. I was taking way too much ibuprofen all the time, just trying to make it through the day.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you even think about it.
So now, how did you feel like when you were going through the motions of you were, you know, making the group calls, you were sticking to the plans we gave you, everything like that? At what point did you start to feel like, I can really do this?
I think I felt like that before vacation, but really after we got back and like the first week of being back and then finally getting back into my normal, it's pretty easy. Like if we do go out anywhere, I look ahead of time so that I don't panic. I have absolutely no shame. The waiters, I don't care. I tip really well. Don't you scratch my bed. Go.
That's the thing. If you listen, we did this last night in our Zoom. We were talking about this too. I think it was, and it was like, don't worry about needing exceptions, needing substitutes. Their job is to bring you your food. Their job is not to judge you. And tip well. They'll remember you. You can go back, and they'll let you order all kinds of crazy. You know, so that's awesome.
So I mean, just like the baby steps and how we slowly go through it, and then having that group of people that know what it's like, it just has become my normal, and so I don't really think about it.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I'm super proud of you. So what is your total, your most recent inches and weight?
Go. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Your cats are like dogs. I love when I see cat dogs, like the cats that actually want to be around you. Those are my favorite.
Last month, 23 total pounds, and I didn't do the math. I just know total inches was 22. I didn't subtract from each area.
Oh, that's fine. But the total, this was crazy. So your total inches were like almost 2 feet, basically.
Yeah.
22 inches lost. Now, I also want to show you that the difference is, I think a lot of it was inflammation as well, which plays a huge part in the pain, in the energy, lack of focus, and then the measurements. That's how you can really tell. Because I've had clients that some lose way more inches than weight, some lose more weight than inches, and it all has to do with where your weight's distributed, where inflammation's occurring. So I think that's incredible, and I'm super proud of you, and I can't wait to see what else you accomplish throughout the rest of this program. Both of you ladies, thank you so much for sharing with us. And if you need anywhere for your cats, I might be open to it, because that little orange tabby cat really so cute. So thank you so much, Tabby. Okay, so you've heard now about me, about my program, about the goals that we have for our clients, and how we go about individually and customizing each person's mush mouth at this time of the day. Now I want to tell you guys what you can do to, 1, get your giveaway item, hopefully, and 2, reserve your discount. So I did mention before, it is a selective process, so I do have an application. I need for you to be eligible for that $100 discount. All you have to do is on some platform, or you can even just text the number you used for this room. It's actually my phone number. Don't tell anybody on the interwebs, but this is my phone number, this Zoom code. But text, DM, Facebook, whatever, send me the word call. That's it. That will lock in before midnight tonight. That'll lock in that $100 discount for you, so I can see that you received that and that you attended live tonight. And then what we'll do is we're going to book a quick 10-minute call. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to figure out if or how I could actually honestly help you. And if I feel like I might be able to, then we'll book in a longer call. Both are free, of course, but I'm going to book in a longer call to kind of map out how. Now, again, it is a selection process. I don't want anyone to be upset because it doesn't mean I'm going to be like, ugh, and block you and never talk to you again. If it's not a fit, I'll explain why, and it's for your sake as well, so I'll still give you resources. So send me call if you want to reserve your $100 discount and book that quick 10-minute call and get the process going that way. For the giveaway, I'm just going to pick you guys random, but I'm going to announce it in the workshop. So in the workshop page, I'm going to announce the winner of tonight's giveaway, as well as the workshop giveaway winner, Miss Donna Lee Ferrara. So you won, I'm just like so excited. I love it so much. So you won a private call with me. You won access to one group lesson and a water bottle. For the skin oil and the Swerve packets and stuff like that, I'm going to take into consideration all you guys that have watched tonight, and I will give you guys an entry and draw at random, and I'll announce that in the workshop before I take the page down this Sunday night. So I'm extending it for you guys. I know a lot of people are like, I need to take notes on the videos. They were so great. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your night. I can't even imagine probably feeling crappy and you have a million things going on. I want to thank you guys for taking the time out. Even if we don't work together, just listening to me babble on, it makes me feel good about what I do. I'm so proud of these two ladies here, as well as all of our clients. And whatever comes from this, I hope you guys stay in touch. I hope you enjoyed my workshop and that you keep your eye out for any of the other free ones I'll be doing over the next few months. Okay, so enjoy your night. Thank you for watching. Mwah. Bye-bye.